This is probably gonna be my most raw and open, vulnerable video I know I have ever made so far, and probably might ever make. Not to be dramatic. And I did try to record this video before, but when I was editing it, it just didn't feel right. So take two while I drink my fall Starbucks drink and have my little helpers with me today. Trigger warning, this is a lot about women's health, like it digs deep into women's health, infertility. So just trigger warning right there. Quick recap for those of you who are new. I was diagnosed with Turner syndrome at the age of 16, almost 13 years ago. And Turner syndrome is a genetic disease because you are missing either one complete X chromosome or partial of an X chromosome. So women normally have two X chromosomes and men have an X and a Y. For people with Turner syndrome, they either have just one X chromosome or they have like 1.5 chromosomes. I have a complete missing X chromosome. So I only have 45 chromosomes, which comes with certain signs and symptoms like short stature, not having a period, my ovaries and uterus are severely underdeveloped. I make about 1% of the hormones most women make, which is why at the age of 16, they wanted me to go on estrogen. However, I was in such denial because I was so distraught over the infertility diagnosis that comes along with Turner syndrome that I didn't want to acknowledge I had Turner syndrome. I went to the appointment because my mom dragged me because I was 16, but I didn't give a fudge and I was in deep denial. At 18, when I was first put into treatment for my eating disorder, I reluctantly did go on estrogen. I said, fine, whatever, I'll do it. It's a pill a day, whatever. But then for years, I just took estrogen once a day. And after getting out of treatment 3 years ago, got back into life because I was in and out of treatment for a very long time, struggling really heavily with my eating disorder. I met with a primary care doctor and started getting into her care. And as we got to know each other even more, she was like, I think it's supposed to be on progesterone with the estrogen. Because I think if you're just on estrogen, that can cause urinary cancer. So she tried me on progesterone, but I got so sick and nauseous, it didn't work. So she halved my dose. Still had the same side effect, so she took me off of it and put in a referral for a hormone specialist. After a year, I finally got into the hormone specialist. My body doesn't handle oral progesterone well, and I need it. So they put me on a patch, what you wear for 1 week on, and then you put on a new patch. You wear that for 1 week. You put on a third patch, wear that for 1 week. And then after that, you have 1 week without, and then you get a new box that has 3 patches, and you do that all over again. So in April, when she told me that's what she wanted me to do, I said, no problem, boo. I can put on a patch and wear it. Just gotta be careful not to have anything rip it off. Whatever, I got this. So mid-April, I started on the patch. Did the whole 3 patches that were in the box, no issue. And then Thursday, a couple of days before Mother's Day, I took off my patch, the third one from the first box I ever got, didn't think twice, took it off, showered, lived life that night, went to bed, lived Friday, and then Saturday was the one day of the month my sister and I were gonna spend together because she was in town for Mother's Day the following day at my grandparents'. We spent the whole day together. Literally went to the movies, we went shopping, we went on a brunch date, we did all this stuff. And 7 o'clock at night, we're sitting there, chilling, living life while dinner's cooking on the stove, chit-chatting on our phones, laughing, having a good time. And I have to pee. So what do? I go to the bathroom and I pee like normal. Don't even think about it when I pull my pants down and start to pee. Then I look. I'm sorry. And at the age of 28 and a half years old, after over a decade of being told I will not have a period. And that being the only silver lining of infertility, part of that diagnosis of Turner syndrome, I started my very first menstrual cycle. To say I was shocked is an understatement. I was frozen on that toilet for what felt like an eternity. I couldn't cry. I couldn't use my voice. I was literally so shaken. I could not move. I was in such shock. And I was frozen. I was the definition of the freeze of fight, flight, or freeze. Luckily, my sister was there though. So after probably a solid 10 minutes of sitting there, I was like, okay, I need to do something. So I called for my sister because I didn't have my Apple Watch on our phone, so I couldn't just text her. So I had to call out of the bathroom, and she came. And she was very confused when I asked her if she had any feminine products, because she knows I have Turner syndrome. She knows I don't have a period. She was very confused. But she said, I'm going to get them, but then we gonna talk. This is the gold standard of sister. She then got what I needed from her car, came back in, made sure I was settled, talked to me and calmed me down from the now crying hysterical hysteria I was in, and the cramps that have full on started, made sure I was calm, and then settled in bed. Then went to Hy-Vee, got me a bunch of stuff that women would love, for a lot of women typically want for when they go through their first menstrual cycle. Chocolate, warmy, any type of pads you need. Like, she just got a whole goodie bag selection, brought it back, talked to me some more, made sure I knew everything, answered any questions I may have, literally talked to me through the night basically. And again, gold standard for a sister. So I called the doctor that Monday and told her what had happened. And I was explained the patch, which I didn't think about this when she prescribed it to me, the patch is giving me what my body can't make because it's missing an X chromosome. So it's basically causing a synthetic menstrual cycle because it is forcing my body to do what it can't do on its own. But she was like, you can't just continuously wear the patch. That's no problem. Not everyone does it, but some people do, and it's no problem. Keep in mind, this was after spending Mother's Day, the first full day on my first menstrual cycle at 28 and a half years old. Spent it around all my loved ones in miserable pain, trying to comprehend what emotions I was dealing with on Mother's Day, my least favorite day of the year because of infertility. July comes around, and I was like, well, I have my board exam, so I'm just not gonna have my off week because that's the week of my board exam, so I'm just gonna keep continuously wearing the patch. They said I could, so I do. 2 weeks later, I changed my patch Thursday like normal. Friday morning, I wake up, blood everywhere. So I call them. And the doctor and the pharmacist both said it's probably just my hormones regulating, things getting, my body figuring things out, should be fine. I'm like, okay, cool. Next week, I go to my friend's an hour and a half away to meet her new baby. It happens again. Second week in a row that I had switched my patch like normal to a new patch in the box, and yet there was bleeding. And I'm not talking just a couple of dots. I'm talking a lot. And keep in mind, I'm with 3 of my best friends, but I have not told any of them. The only people that knew were my treatment team, my husband, and my sister. I was in such shame about what was going on with my body. I hadn't told anyone. So I am literally, her bathroom is a wreck. And they're sitting out there eating lunch, not knowing any of this. So I come out literally after doing an emergency cleanup, come out, and they're like, we're about to knock down the door because you were in there for so long. And I come out shaking and crying hysterically. After getting over the emotions and fear of and shame of saying what I was going through. It was honestly really therapeutic to have their support after being so vulnerable. Which I'm sure I'm not the only one going through this, and I wanted to shed light and just share my experience and be open, because like I said, I'm not the only one probably going through this, and I think it's important to talk about this, especially anything women's health wise. But so that's the second week in a row where I switched the patch and there was bleeding. The next week, nothing happens. All good, all Gucci. I'm thinking, okay, we got this, we got this. Fourth week in August, it happens again. I switch my patch, put a new one on, there's bleeding. So after talking to the hormone specialist, I am just one of the few that do have very bad irregular bleeding when using the patch continuously. It is a side effect or something that can happen. We decided that since I am having the issue and it is so bad, my iron dropped, I was fatigued, I could barely function. I was taking like 2 small naps a day, now on an iron supplement. We decided that I cannot use the patch continuously and I have to do the 3 weeks and then the 1 week completely off. There is just a lot that has gone into managing and maneuvering through this. I have had to process a lot because there are so many emotions that come up with this. Like, one, how unfair. Like, that was a really potent first thought, is like, how unfair fudging is this? I have to deal with infertility and I still have to deal with this mother fudging pain and bleeding and menstrual crap. And then 2 was, oh, if my body can do this, that means maybe it's not broken. Because for years I was telling myself my body is broken, malformed, and dumb. And that's just the start of those thoughts. That's just the top ones that come to mind. There's just so much, and to say I had to unpack and am still unpacking this with my therapist is an understatement. Like, there's a lot to work through. I felt like I lost myself. I felt not like me for a while. I just felt like I was living in someone else's body. At the age of almost 29, I had to learn how to navigate a menstrual cycle that I literally threw out the window because I didn't think that would ever happen to me. So I was like, bye. And thankfully, I do have lovely treatment team helping me, lovely support system. You know, Mr. Snorty McSnort right here and Mrs. Sassy Frass, who's right next to him. I really hope that if you're going through something similar like this can help you know you're not alone. And especially any women out there who feel like they are alone, whether it's infertility or just hormonal women's health, you're not alone. Thank you all for watching. Love you all.